What is song say, Kwesi?
Bleach not, said he, for mighty dread had seized their troubled hearts.
Oh, it's a God song?
No. This is a thing we taken out from one of them church songs.
You make it up yourself.
Yeah.
You make it up. Oh, no.
Yeah, one of them is a coroner. Fear not, said he, for mighty dread.
That's a Christmas song, boy.
Well, you see, it's a Christmas advice, don't bleach.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, in the village, in nations across the world. Welcome back to What Dih Story Seh. And this is us three talking here again. Three people gaffing, Dr. Kwesi Ojinga, Marlies Harris Simon, and me, Dr. Pauline Baird. Like I tell you, I tell our stories, our whispered stories, our family histories, and our long lost, hidden, and sometimes forgotten traditions. This is What Dih Story Seh. I am Pauline Baird. The show is What Dih Story Seh. Follow the show. You can friend me. It's all good, but follow the show. Go on Facebook and click the button. Go on YouTube and click the button. Subscribe and get the notification. Good things are happening here. Thank you very much for following and for being good company. This is Black History Month. And like I say, every day is Black History for me because I'm a Black person. And so, but the world celebrates this, or at least Americans and other nations around the world, stop and pause and look at Blackness and the Black experience. And so we want to do that today. So we are going to talk about Black, what it means to be Black. Last time we talked about I's a BV man. Well, the BV man is back here to tell us about his ideas on Blackness. You know, it's been a thing, unless you live under a rock, you might know. You can't say you don't know, but I think you know that Black people bleach their skin. Not with Clorox, not with Jarvix, but the bleaching. Let us talk about this notion of bleaching. And Kwesi got it in a nice story, in a poem, where for academics, I'm going to tell y'all, he's theorizing Blackness and call the children and the adults and the CXC and the exam people and those who are studying to look at this show because it offers much in terms of multiculturalism and ethnic issues and our social issues where we examine ourselves. So, Kwesi, take it away.
Okay, this poem is called Don't You Bleach Your Skin. It says, my child, don't you bleach your skin. Your skin is a protection for what you carry within. You are the one who came directly from the hand of God. You're as valuable as you are rare. You are no fraud. But even though your skin is most precious, it's only been given to you as a loan. Use the time you spend in it wisely. Don't be distracted by what they say of your skin tone. What they say reflects the paucity of their understanding of God's gift to you. God knows your purpose. He knows your heart. He knows your value, and he knows what they will pass you through. My child, don't you bleach your skin. Your skin is a protection for what you carry within. You are the righteousness of God. You are sealed and anointed. You possess heavenly powers for the special purpose for which you have been appointed. Your skin is beautiful. It's been supernaturally crafted by the hand of God. In you is his spirit that he has imparted through the power of his word. My child, skin don't mean much from God's perspective. What counts is what you do with the wisdom he gives to you each day that you live. My child, don't you bleach your skin. Your skin is a protection for what you carry within. You are not weak You are not purposeless. You are not just ordinary. You are not powerless. You are not slow. You are not valueless. You are not pointless. You are not meaningless. You are more than a conqueror. You were designed to do many a miraculous thing. Don't you let them distract you. Don't you bleach your skin. Respect every gift that God has given to you. Use your life to accomplish the purpose to which God has assigned you. Wake up in his joy. Follow his plan. You are empowered to overcome every challenge in every land. Respect your skin. It's what God placed you in, to offer your praise and your worship as you give thanks to him. Your skin is not going to last anyway. Take care of all that God has given to you as you live from day to day. My child, don't you bleach your skin. Your skin is protection for what you carry within. Learn your history. Know who you are. Your presence on this earth has helped significantly in bringing this planet this far. What you have brought here, none can duplicate. Don't fall for their condemnation. Don't fall for their hate, my child. Ah, my child. Don't you bleach your skin. Your skin is a protection for what you carry within.
Thank you so much. Ooh, that's a lot.
Hallelujah.
Well, it's a lot of truth telling today. A lot of truth telling, because skin is so visible.
Mm-hmm.
Before people know your name, they see you. And they see a skin. It's like a flag. And so people have this love-hate relationship with skin.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we start this conversation? Huh.
You know, sometimes,
Mm.
especially around this time of year, you just mentioned that in some countries, this is Black History Month.
Mhm.
This is Black History Month.
Mhm.
But we who are in this skin, we are carrying the history.
Mhm.
There's no month for us. There's life.
Yep. Yep.
We were in this skin, we are carrying life, Black life.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is, when we are putting aside time to reflect on our history, every day we get to see how others view our history.
Mhm.
We get to see how our history is impacting this world. You show up in some places, and I'm going to tell you this, even today in the United States of America, you show up in some places and you can feel how your presence has impacted that space, that little space. You can feel it.
Yep.
Sometimes you're sitting down for a long, long time. You wonder, well, why nobody is calling me? They're making up their mind because your presence has impacted them in such a way that they don't know how to deal with you for that moment. They were expecting you, but it's one thing to know you're expecting someone, and another thing when he shows up.
Yes.
So we are carrying the history. We are
Yes.
actually experiencing what is done to the history,
Mhm.
as well as experiencing what the history is doing to the world. So there's no month for us.
Yeah.
It's a reality.
Mhm.
It's a life. We can't escape it. And let me tell you this. Your skin is a statement, a supernatural statement of who you are. That statement is written on the very walls of your soul, your spirit. When you bleach your skin, that statement still stands out.
Mhm.
You're still Black, in other words.
Mhm.
So the bleaching doesn't really help.
Mm.
Mhm. I'm going to look at it from another point of view. People who bleach and intentionally bleach, they would tell you things like, bleaching helps me to get ahead. I just read last night where some people were saying, even a lot of bleaching happens in Jamaica, they say. Don't come for me, go read they say on Google, any search will tell you. I did a search about Black skin and bleaching. I got 539,000 hits just on that. And I couldn't go through all of them, but they were saying that people feel like if you're of a lighter complexion, then you're more likely to get social advancement, like certain benefits and so on. And so people deliberately take this chemical and bleach their skin. Other sources say that bleaching is not as widespread as people make it to be. I don't know if that's true, but it's touched many parts of the world where there are large populations of Black people. And they said Nigeria, 77% of Nigerians do some form of bleaching. Mali, whatever percentage, up and down the Caribbean, there is that. In African Americans too. But there's also stories about people being more conscious now and not doing the bleaching. And I say deliberate bleaching because nowadays, the companies that make the chemicals for bleaching of the skin, they've gotten smart. So they're wordsmithing. So you get something like, this cream is supposed to tone your skin.
Tone your skin, yeah. Balance
even your skin tone. Because I know of that, when you're growing up, you have the pimples and you squeeze the pimples, you get the dark spots. So you get the cream to lighten the spots and things like that, or even out your skin tone. So that's where the bleaching thing becomes a creeping compromise, so to speak, and things like that. So yeah, I just want to offer that.
This whole thing, and we got to be careful with the way we're bringing up our children. I'm going to another point for this discussion. Why I'm saying this, I am one shade blacker than the normal Black, from my perspective. And when I was growing up, I used to be teased a lot.
Okay.
I grew up with a lady named Miss Bertha. She was born in 1899.
Okay.
She didn't have no particular schooling. She did basic domestic. And in those days, the white people in the LBI estates, everybody wanted to go work with them because, you felt that when you went there, you got good treatment, you got good money, and people say, oh, look who you're working with. Oh, you're important. You know what I mean? But I remember when I was being teased as a kid, one day Miss Bertha called me and she said to me, don't listen to them. When they tell you that you're Black, say to them, my complexion is richer than yours. I don't know how Miss Bertha got this thing, but then Miss Bertha started talking about what happened in the plantation and the rape. She said, when you watch that fair skin, and I'm not saying this to hurt anybody no, I'm not saying that for that. I'm just telling you how it was explained to me. When you look at that fair skin, you're seeing, in some cases, the evidence of violence.
Yes.
You're seeing pain, you're seeing suffering, right? Now, this is not always so, because I had an aunt who married a Chinese man.
Yeah.
And I got cousins who are we call Chinese dogler. Yeah. I got friends who were fair skin and it came from the mixture of two races and it's not pain and suffering. But she told me this for my defense. And it helped me a little bit. Because now I began to have a new kind of confidence that, yes, I came from somewhere, and where I came from is a place that has power. It has purpose. It has a future. Because if it is if it is richer than yours, it has value. You see, and this began to play in my head. and a boldness developed in me.
Right.
A boldness developed in me. Then I realized that you can't shut me out.
Mm-hmm.
You see, the real confidence that comes to an individual is you taking control of your mind, you harnessing the power in your mind and deciding where you want to go with it.
Yes.
I don't care, you could be black as the S of spade, black like me, I'm the S of spade. If you want to do something with your life, I don't care who tried to shut you out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better not to go where you're not needed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because the journey to become will be tough and it may damage you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's God saying, hey, brother, don't come here. They got another way.
Mm-hmm.
Use the other way so you can now tell people, you know what, you don't have to go there. This is the way through which I passed and I made it. We need to start to listen to our insides. We need to start to connect with what life is actually showing us. If life is showing you hatred, you can do one or two things about it. You can either stand up against it, or you can allow it to overwhelm you, overpower you. You can become a victim of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you must decide. And I think that's the weapon that Miss Bertha gave me that day.
Mm-hmm.
When she told me that your complexion is richer.
Mm-hmm.
Now I began to feel like one powerful human being.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling never, ever escaped me.
Okay. What I hear there is that she's speaking into your life. She's speaking power into your life. And look at you today. Look at your experiences. Such a rich experience. And like you said, you became more confident. Let's unpack what Miss Bertha did. What she did is what many adults do and sometimes don't understand. Mm-hmm. What you say to a child helps them to get a mind shift or a paradigm shift where they go, aha. Not all Africans are dark-skinned, and history shows, or it is written, that Europeans had not influenced Ethiopians. What are your thoughts?
Nature has some good ways of, we saying, guy, cracking jokes. Nature has some way of joking with us. Because, you know, one time me and my wife, we went on a vacation in Brazil. And we saw people with my complexion, with blue eyes and green eyes. And I'm saying, wow, how did this happen? Yeah. So nature has a way of showing us that, you know, we are not to believe we are victims of life. If you look around, you'll see a lot of art. I like to play with colors, and I guess this is the mindset of God. He makes beauty out of colors. Yes. Yeah. Precisely. So we got to learn to see ourselves as beautiful. That thing black is beautiful. And that was something from God. That was from God's mindset into human mindset. Black is beautiful. But we've got to find the boldness to say it and to live it. Yeah. I remember the first time I was conscious of Blackness. Distinctly, I was about 11 or 12. They used to have this show called The Tides of Susanburg. Yeah. And another one. Mm-hmm. So there was another one that was Air Force. Anyway, after that show or before that show, they used to play a song. To be young, gifted, and black. Yeah. Oh, what a lovely, precious feeling. Something like that. And I used to listen to this every time and think, to be young, gifted, and black. What a lovely, precious feeling. That thing stayed with me. It made me feel so good, but I wasn't even into color and the power of color, or the what should I say? The minimizing of a person's well-being or a person's humanity based on color. And so that brings me to this definition here of something called colorism, which is seems to be a plague in our communities. And color, it looks like when your good uncle bring the chicken and the nice things for the red child, or when your mother favors the lighter child over the darker child, or the light-skinned children get more privilege in school than the dark-skinned children. And colorism is defined as, let me get my glasses. Colorism is defined as prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group.
this is such an indictment
Mhm.
on our people. Our people are doing it to themselves. So we have classification that you yellow and you red and you what is it let's call it in Guyana? You get nice skin.
Nice skin and nice hair and nice this
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. At one institution I heard, an academic institution I heard, the guy said they don't marry nobody who when they turn off the light they can't see them at night.
Mm.
So all those kind of things. I mean, who we choose as our spouses and so on is our business.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
when we're talking about discriminating among ourselves, it's a very insidious and hateful thing. You know, I can't even talk about it without feeling terrible.
While you guys were talking, I was making some notes. The first thing I think the poem, the message I think is a call to rise. I think rise within and embrace your true self. I think that's what the poem is saying. But one thing came out, Pauline, when you read that definition. I don't know if you've ever heard of the paper bag theory.
No.
The brown paper bag theory.
Educate me. Educate me.
So it's within, so certain careers, dark-skinned people were not allowed into, like, you know, to be the bank teller, to be in the government jobs and all this kind of stuff. And apparently, let me use apparently, the brown paper bag, if your skin tone is close to the color of the brown paper bag or lighter, then you can get those jobs. Anything darker than the brown paper bag, it means you're not, you can't get those jobs. So it's kind of, it's a real powerful, I think, conversation to have, because if we to examine where this, how this bleaching start, is it because a different race looked down on our skin tone or complexion, or is it ourselves that did that to each other by saying, well, if you're lighter, you're better. I remember, so a couple of things happened to me personally when it comes to skin color. So when I was growing up, my grandmother used to refer to me, she used to go like, that one is like Janet Jackson and this one is like Viola Burnham. So which was a comparison of two powerful figures to me and my sister.
Wow.
And to me, like as a kid, I didn't understand what that really mean. I wanted to be more like my sister and like Viola Burnham. So I really struggled with that for a long time. I'm like, well, I don't see why I have to, because I didn't identify with this other person that she was kind of saying. So that created some confusion within me. The other stories, when I moved here to Canada, I remember the very first time being in the subway, and this woman of Ethiopian descent, in her rap and everything, came talking to me in her language. And I was like, I really don't know what you're saying. But she got mad because she said when her friend was translated for me, she said, she's saying, when you people move out from your country, you pretend that you don't know your people. So that's one is, and this happened, I'm saying, about 10 times. Right, will speak to me in Ethiopia, and then we had this conversation. So again, it goes back, like you were saying, that there are people in parts of Africa where this is their skin tone, and then there is the Black. So I think going back to the point of, to me, the poem is a call to embrace and a call to rise, despite what a skin tone might mean. It doesn't mean that you are inferior because you're dark, because despite the shades of blackness, the other races, we're still Black. So it doesn't matter if you're lighter skin tone. To me, you know the term, if you're not white, you're Black. So it doesn't matter if you're a lighter skin tone or not. So it doesn't matter if I'm Dr. Kwesi skin tone or I'm lighter than is. Together as a people, when we go into a different cultural makeup, we are still Black. So that call to embrace and to rise within and embracing who you are and not dismantle, I think, not dismantle this beauty, this God-given beauty is what I think your poem is calling out, Kwesi.
You know, Marley's
Our conversations shift to taking on Blackness by Caucasians who call it tanning. What are our views on
You know,
this?
Marley's based on something you said just now. You have people, Caucasian people precisely, who would go out in the sun and bake, getting dark. You get some people of that persuasion or ethnicity, if you call it that, who look down on what's so-called Blackness, but yet they go and put it on themselves. What is the conversation they're having in their heads? Is it that they want to have that, but they don't want the permanence of it? Some of them tan until they get skin cancer. They even go to tanning beds, and it goes the gamut from the former leader of the free world, the so-called free world, tanning bed till all around your eye, get circled from where you put on the glasses, but you can't get Black enough. But then you make certain aspersions about people from a certain culture. So there is that confusion there. Some people would say that confusion. Some people say on one spectrum, using through the Western European gaze and whiteness, on this end, they feel that that's all and the end all and be all, and everybody aspire to that. And then you get people who are so-called brown and Black who are trying to reach that on the continuum. But you were saying embrace your skin tone because that's what you've been given. That is what you're born with. But
how do we relate to the issues of Blackness and bleaching?
you know, many of us are complicit because some of the lotions or whatever we buy to clean our face and so on, these things have lighteners inside. You know, I used to use a thing, I didn't even know that was a thing, you know. And so I'm like, no, I'm done with that. You know, that was when I was much younger, because you're getting this thing. I don't want to call the brand names, but they're pretty common that girls used to use back in the day. I don't want to call brands because that's not my business, but it's there. Unless we think that only African people are bleaching, or people of African descent, you got it wrong. You see, Asia, when I was living in Palau, when I was living in Palau, I could not buy any skin lotion, any what do you call that thing, like witch hazel kind of thing to clean your face, like toners to clean your face. All of them got lighteners inside, and they got whitening. They're coming from a certain Asian country. Body soap for bathing, it got whitening. Creams got whitening. Lotions got whitening. Moisturizers got whitening. All of them got whitening. I go into certain stores, I have to look at the thing and want to get it lightening. I don't want that. So it was so hard to be a Black person in that country. So I had to have the store bring the things that I want to. I would get pictures and show them, and they bring it. You go to Korea. Oh, the whitening is serious. So even light-skinned people, as we think, come from countries with certain color, they bleaching too. So it's a thing. Yeah.
This whole world is a confusing place. It's a confusing place. Because, you know, my thing is we're not satisfied with anything. Our skin tone is not a point of issue, right? But the thing is, how do we address this, especially to our children? That's the most important thing. Yeah. I was lucky to have a Miss Bertha.
Yeah.
And what she passed on to me, I was able to pass on to my kids. And it's true, because my kids, they're not as dark as I am. Right? And there's no mixing of blood, unless it was far, 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 far back in history. But my thing is, you are who you are.
Yeah.
You are who
Yes.
you are. And I think love begins with self.
Mhm.
You see, when you get to understand who you are as a person, and you can see all the possibilities in life that are there for you, you got to learn to take care of you. You've got to be your most authentic self.
Yes.
I think you get distracted and you get all confused when you are thinking that, I can make it, but I have to do this instead. Making it doesn't have anything with what you look. It shouldn't have anything with what you look like, but it has to do with what you have inside, what you're carrying within. That's your strength.
Okay, so could you break it down for a child or a teenager who is struggling with skin color can understand what is it they have
This
within?
is the thing that confuses a lot of people. You
Yeah.
see, we got to learn to listen to the conversations that are going on in us.
Mhm.
You got some desires there. In most cases, you did not put it. But there is something going on in you that tells you to do things. And sometimes it's break down a little more fine. How to do it, when to do it, why do it, sense of timing, everything. This is information that's coming from within you. If you start to get the child accustomed to listening to their own internal conversations, then they will understand their strength. I feel just like a computer has a program, at another level, we have a program. It's a spiritual self that is within us. And it is terribly imbalanced when all we are doing is looking at what is going on around us and what we look like in this external equation. But in order for this thing to be balanced, you got to understand that you are somebody in this equation and you got something in you. A bulb looks like nothing until you discover the light inside, the current inside, right? Turn it off for the day, has no function. But the moment a challenge comes in life, you turn, and from inside the bulb generates the power to fight the darkness. So we got to start listening to what's happening on the inside of us. We've got to train our children to do it, right? When you sit, what is happening? Talk about your daydreams, then talk about your imagination. See, this whole thing is the senses. The senses feed the mind, right? The senses feed the mind. But there's something going on inside. What is happening to what I'm seeing around me when it gets inside? I have an intellect that would start to process it. And I have a will inside that tells me what is right, what is wrong. And I have a mind, the mind that it comes in before it goes to my intellect and my will. The mind can either store it or keep it active. We talk about subconscious and conscious mind, right? So this is all in trying to break down and define the parts of the soul. We've got to teach our children, we ourselves have to get the notion that we have a soul, a place where we believe it, and we start to investigate, discover, and learn how to use it. Because it doesn't matter who you are. If you want to be a doctor, you could be black, white, pink, or blue. It calls for some studies. They may not take you in this classroom, but I got another one. Something tells you, hey, probably I don't belong there. I got to go to another one. You will look for a place where you're comfortable so you can do what your inside is commanding you, compelling you to do. So when you're looking at the inside, you have to learn self is not limited to this flesh and blood and bones. But there's something that empowers this flesh and blood and bones. You can think, you can reason, you can make decisions. That's coming from inside. So what you carry within, as the poem says, you carry your real life, which you can call your truth. You carry the power of information in you. And that power is not generated by your body, but is generated in you so that your body can function. So these are deep conversations we need to have. And I'm telling you, sometimes a lot of us are considering ourselves as failures because we know we have a drive, we know we have a goal, a purpose, we know all these things, but we do nothing about working on the inside that puts us on that path to accomplish that goal.
So, Kwesi, I want to ask you that since moving to America, give us a real life experience or encounter that shows how you handled adversity that came as a result of presumably discrimination against your skin, and how you dug deep within to overcome.
You know, I was working for a company. I'm not going to name the company. I left home, Guyana, with a lot in me, but with limited experience. But with limited experience in really handling, understanding, accessing what I had within. Well, so I answered an ad, and I went to this place for an interview. And I could see like I was saying everything right, because what happened is that it was just two of us at this interview. Then the next thing I heard, hold on, and another man came in, another one, and I was the only one of my kind. Soon I began to work with a company, and I was on the telephones, talking with people and getting them to buy. I was a telesalesman. And next thing you know, they gave me an office. And they started telling me that I must train people because I have a natural way of, I must show them what I know. So I began to do the thing because, you know, you feel proud. I mean, you just come from Guyana and, you know, people are discovering something you never thought you had before. So you're working on developing this thing. Well, it happened that there was an internal vacancy opening that I did not know about. And somebody who came on the job that I trained came to me as my boss.
What?
And I'm saying, well, wait. But I trained you. How come you get this job? So I made a noise. So they took me up to the big office and they said to me, this thing was advertised, but you never applied. I said, advertised where? Advertised where? You guys gave me the impression that when I come in this company, any progressive movement, any progression would come from within.
Yes.
Yeah, but it was there. Where? How come I didn't see it? I come to work every single day. You say, well, it was on the internet. I say, shucks. Somebody called me here. All right. Well, he became a boss. So I said, man, the next one I'm gonna miss. So I start working more hard. Now I start looking at the internet and start doing all sorts of things to make sure that I am of value on this market when it comes. And man, same thing of trading people. This guy now went to a higher position. And one that came in after this whole incident that I trained came to me as my boss. So they said to me, you see, man, we couldn't help it because you're not academically qualified for this thing. You may know it, but this guy just came from a college. He's academically qualified. So, you know, you would not have been able to fit in this thing happened to me 3 times. Every time a different excuse. And I decided I'm going to leave. I had one of the biggest farewell parties. I got one of the biggest farewell parties. And a nice little chunk of change when I was leaving. But then I realized something. In the company, there was none like me in high positions. So this was a way of telling me, thus far and no further.
And they give you a big party.
Big party.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's how I went into broadcasting. And I started to go back to school. I started to redefine myself.
Yeah.
Right.
So you didn't let the situation overpower you. You found a way out of that, but you did confront the situation that this is not what you expected. But you see, access, I'm seeing issues of access there and knowledge of, and access to the knowledge so you can do better.
But I should add this though. The same Miss Bertha is a woman who brought me up with the understanding that anything you want to accomplish in life, fasting and prayer will open this power within and open a path at the same time so that you can realize whatever dreams you have. And so this was something I did. And I began to make contact with the inside. And I began to do my fasting, my prayer before I did anything. Matter of fact, let me tell you this. When I wanted to get married, I fasted and prayed, and my wife came. And this is, let me see, 53 years later, we're still together. Right?
And you wrote the book, Send Me My Eve.
Send Me My Eve. But I realized that everything that I want is because of my access. I have access to the life that is in me, the soul that is in me. It's like a computer program. Once you learn it, you can master the way the computer operates. And this thing helped me at every level of my life, my academic level, my relational level, every level. I fast and pray. And so I pass that on to my kids. You see? So there is something inside. You were born with it. It develops at you as you grow. It attracts you, it informs you, directs you, but you must access it. Get to know it, learn it, trust it, have faith, go wherever it leads. Go wherever it leads. Nothing blocks you when you do that.
You are so right.
Other practical ways of making good of what's within? Listen.
Write the vision and make it plain. It doesn't matter what this society hate. You write it down. And then I get the principle from my African people. One dotty bill dam. Marlies and I were talking this week.
Being in yourself and being quiet and listening to the voices and the voice that's in your head. But the other piece that I wanted to, as I was listening and trying to tie the conversation together, is modeling is what came out. Because a lot of times we can say, listen to what's in yourself, listen to that voice and allow the daydreaming and everything. But growing up as a child, if you have no one modeling that for you, like how Kwesi said, I taught my kids that, I told my kids that. So it's kind of, how do we now model that to the kids to know that daydreaming is allowed? Listening to your inner voice is allowed, because sometimes, kids might be in a chaotic situation, but it is so powerful to listen, to sit in silence and listen to that inner voice. And I like how Kwesi and you, Pauline, kind of pull it all together to say, listening to that voice and being in quiet and knowing how to write down your vision and like trusting self, I think.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we ourselves talk ourselves out of our dreams. Nobody did it. We just say, oh, that's stupid. That cannot be possible. You end up talking yourself. So it's kind of like allowing, it's like building a practice, I think. And building a practice and seeing it and modeling it, somebody modeling that type of spiritual practice that allows you to become your own, I think.
Let me talk a little bit about a term I'm going to coin. Let me talk a little bit about spiritual bleaching. Spiritual bleaching. We see from our history that our people were able to rise above the challenges of life through their belief. Somehow, instead of looking at the pureness of the belief, we tend to accentuate how people represent the belief. Now, we have our own blueprint. As a matter of fact, when you look at the history, the particular spiritual philosophy I'm talking about came from our part of the world. But then people have borrowed it, they've taken it and repackaged it and give it back to us.
Right.
And so they put us in a position of where we have to accept their interpretation of it. And instead of examining the actual spiritual principles, getting an understanding of it, we start to blame the people who repackage it. And we say we would have nothing to do with it because those people represented in this way. It's so foolish. You have a weapon in your hand and you're throwing it away because other people are using it badly. You know what I'm saying? You have a weapon in your hand. And so our children now are telling us they are living, some of them are living off of that repackaging, the repackaging of that product. And they are telling us, no, We can't get involved in what you are telling us about the things of our history that was then, can't happen now. But as long as you have a soul operating in you, as long as you're informed by that spiritual power that gives you desires and dreams and visions, as long as you're motivated by these thoughts that you did not manufacture yourself, you need to learn the truth about that tool that was born your side of the world, because it came from your side and it spread all over. Everybody, look, if you compare rich people, some people are very, very rich, but some don't know how to use their money. I must not model myself after the people who can't use theirs. I must get the truth, understand the value of what I have, and learn to work with it so that I can get the best benefits for myself. So understanding what you have within is a step into the very core of your being, and finding that spirit that generates your energy, your power, your purpose, your meaning, your value, and working with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that is well said. It sounds like a wrap right there.